Yo, what's good? It's your boy JCG. We talked about the adventures of Batman and Robin before. Now it's time to talk about the adventures of Batman and Superman and other Justice League members. It's the road to Legacy of the Dark Knight, and this is part two of the Lego Batman retrospective.
Where does he get these unbreakable toys?
Welcome back to the lounge. So, we are not that far away from Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. In fact, it was revealed recently that the game pushed up its release date a week early, so we'll have it much sooner. With that said, we still have to finish this retrospective before then, because we still have 3 more games to cover. So how about we get to talking about the second installment in the Lego Batman game series? A game that, at the time, was pretty ambitious for TT Games. Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes. As stated in my previous retrospective video, this is not a review of Lego Batman 2. More so a what I remember the most about this game, and looking back on how much fun I had with the game at the time it came out. Where do we start with this game? Well, why don't we talk about the one thing that made this game really important at the time it released, and was a huge shift from TT Games and their usual formula for Lego games. The story and the introduction of full sentence voice acting in these games. Before we touch on the story, let's address the major change. The use of voiceover in LEGO games was mainly only mumbles and grunts. TT Games used a combination of those, as well as sounds and audio bites from the movies, if we're talking about the LEGO Star Wars and Indiana Jones games, to give the playable characters something to say whenever they do a certain action in-game or interact in a cutscene. LEGO Batman 2, however, changed the formula. This was the very first LEGO game ever to have entirely worded dialogue, and each character would speak in full sentences. The mumbles and grunts were gone for a while, and while some fans preferred the mumbles, others, like myself, do appreciate that they were able to get beloved fan-favorite voice actors and actresses to provide the voices for these characters, and still give us some goofy and hilarious moments within the story. As for the story itself, well, the main premise is this. Lex Luthor plots to become the President of the United States. But he knows there are certain people that won't elect him due to his shady history and immense hatred of Superman. So he looks to gain some assistance in his campaign run. Only that assistance comes in the form of the clown prince of crime himself, the Joker.
You're right. You don't deserve that.
That's right! I don't! Wait, who said that?
How would you like to be out of Arkham right now and given a chance to take revenge on Batman and the rest of this ungrateful city?
I'd have to be crazy to say no to that offer. Unless you're just one of the voices in my head, in which case I'm crazy anyway. Oh, hey Lex. You come to get your watch back? Or did a bus from Metropolis get lost and break down?
First, I don't take the bus. And second, yes, give me my watch.
So, what you got there?
This, my friend, is the Deconstructor. It emits a unique energy, one that is absorbed so quickly by any shiny black object that it causes it to pull itself apart.
Seeking to utilize Joker's laughing gas and turn it into a tool to manipulate voters, Luthor brings Batman's nemesis into his grand plan as a way to make sure he is elected. Meanwhile, Batman and Robin are putting all the pieces together to figure out what exactly is going on in this. Once they realize that Luthor and Joker have joined forces, the dynamic duo have no choice but to call on the help of the Man of Steel himself, Superman, to take down the two nefarious masterminds. And if things get really bad, they might just have to call in some other heroic friends to lend them a hand. It's a good story, kind of reminiscent of the old Batman and Superman World's Finest film, which crossed over the classic Superman and Batman animated shows. The plot is different in that movie, obviously, but it's almost the same concept. And it does help with the voice actors, iconic ones like Clancy Brown as Lex Luthor, Troy Baker as Batman, and Travis Willingham as Superman, giving these characters their comic-accurate cartoon depictions in Lego form. The other iconic Justice League members, unfortunately, don't really play much of a role in the story, other than showing up in the final act to assist Batman, Robin, and Superman. This entire plot is focused solely around the ongoing adventures of the Bat and the Bird, as well as the developing relationship between Batman and Superman. With that said, it's still nice, however, that we see the other Justice League heroes in this game, since this game acknowledges and establishes the larger DC Comics universe within the Lego world.
Huh? Huh?
Not the way I like to travel.
Come on, cheer up, sourpuss.
Not cool.
Now let's shift over to gameplay. The gameplay is similar to the previous LEGO Batman entry. You remember the gimmick from the first game, where Batman and Robin can switch between different suits? Well, that returned for this game, thankfully. And it worked about the same. Step on a special pad and get a new suit to access certain sections in the level. All the usual LEGO game mechanics are here. So, what's really new, aside from the bigger roster of characters that you get to unlock? Well, that's when we get into the other part of this game that was new for TT Games. A fully open world Gotham City. For a good while, hub worlds in LEGO games have been the only form of, quote, open environment in these types of games. For LEGO Batman 2, this was the first time TT Games was building a whole wide city to explore. This isn't anything new for Batman games, cause Batman Arkham City released a year earlier than this game and had a semi-open world area to explore and progress through. But this was the first for a LEGO game, and while it may not be perfect, to its credit, this open world Gotham in LEGO Batman 2 is fun to run around in. Especially if you're playing characters like Superman or the Flash, where you can literally fly or run really fast around the city. And it's not like the city was completely empty. There was stuff to do in this open world Gotham. And there were citizens either walking or running around. And if you were trying to unlock more characters, you can search for particular villains who just so happen to be standing around waiting for you to fight them, so you can purchase them right after. Just like with LEGO Batman 1, I played 2 different console versions of this game. The one for Nintendo 3DS was the version I played first. Obviously, that was the more limited experience. But later on, I got the game again for the Wii. And yeah, I had a good time with both versions. LEGO Batman 1 was iconic. It was the first LEGO DC game to be made. And it helped either generate a whole new generation of Batman fans, or to already existing Batman fans such as myself, it gave us a fantastic new piece of replayable media to get invested in. LEGO Batman 2 DC Superheroes is a great sequel. A perfect sequel? Probably not. But considering with how ambitious this game was with its open world, and the fact that the original story included fully voiced dialogue, I would say that LEGO Batman 2 is definitely a game I want to re-experience at some point in the future. Because this game was hype at the time it was coming out, and I would be lying to all of you if I said that this was a letdown. It isn't. It's still a fun time with the family. And if the Justice League and other DC heroes and villains were present in this game, my friends, this was just the beginning of what would come next from the world of LEGO DC. And next time, we're going to see our favorite dynamic duo and their superpowered allies going beyond Gotham City. And that, my friends, concludes part 2 of the LEGO Batman retrospective with LEGO Batman 2 DC Superheroes. Thank you guys so much for watching this vid. I'm going to try to have the third video, part 3, coming out later on this month. And next month, I will hopefully be finished with part 4 so we can wrap up this whole retrospective before Legacy of the Dark Knight comes out. But with all that said, stay tuned for more videos. Thank you guys again for watching. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to join the lounge. This has been your boy JCG. God bless. I'm out. Deuces.